This episode is brought to you by Marshalls, where you never have to compromise between quality and price. The buyers at Marshalls hustle hard, working to bring you great deals on brand name and designer pieces. Because Marshalls believes everyone deserves access to the good stuff. Visit a Marshalls store near you or shop online at marshalls.com.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Broadcasting intimate details and useless information from an undisclosed location in New York City. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Boredom, that itch, that dull ache. It is not just a drag. There's research that suggests it might actually push us to seek change in our lives, even to seek out unpleasant experiences. Boredom, the very thing you dread, may be the thing that makes you change your life when you feel like it's going nowhere. I'm here with someone who worked on that research. He is a psychology professor at Utah State University, and his name is Dr. Shane Bench. Shane, welcome in.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
I think a lot about boredom. I don't like going on my phone when I feel bored. I feel like I need to feel that feeling, so I ruminate and I want to make changes. And sometimes those changes can be wild. I won't get too much into it, but I am divorced. From a psychological perspective, though, like when you go to study boredom, how do you even define it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's been different approaches to quantifying, so operationalizing boredom. Some approaches have been relatively dismissive, talking about boredom as a fleeting state that's just kind of ephemeral and it passes. But more recent research has looked at it as a functional emotion, so something that may have benefits in certain situations, so encouraging us to disengage from one task and pursue something new.
So it can be a motivator in that sense, if it encourages us to disengage with whatever's boring us and seek something new. Would you say it's like a powerful motivator for human behavior?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's at the heart of a lot of debate of boredom research. Our perspective, my colleague and I, Heather Lynch, argue that boredom is a motivating, activated state that encourages us to do something different.
And what differences do people often do when they're bored? My understanding is it's not always positive.
Yeah, it can be a range of things. So our perspective is that boredom motivates us to do anything that is different. So it can be something that's novel, so completely new to us, or it can be something that's affectively novel, so different, elicit a different affective experience than we're experiencing in the moment. For instance, if something positive makes us bored, it could encourage us to experience something that's affectively negative.
Just to be less technical, can you give me an example of something like that?
Yeah, for instance, if I got bored from, watching funny videos, it could encourage me to seek something that causes a different affective state or emotional state. So maybe watching videos that are make me feel sad or disgusted even.
Now, any study that involves cockroaches and dirty dishes is one that I'm particularly interested in. Talk to me about the mechanics. Like, how do you come to these conclusions? How do you study boredom when you actually interview people?
Yeah, so in our study, we've used a particularly powerful elicitor of boredom. We've had people watch neutral videos, images that have been rated as neutral by thousands of people. So these come from an image database that researchers use. Once they're really bored, and I mean intensely bored, we give them an option to watch something else. So they can look at pictures that are continue to be neutral or pictures that are affectively negative. So again, these are images that are rated by thousands of people to be consistently negative. Things like cockroaches and burning buildings and dirty dishes. And we give them an option.
And so people are there, they're looking at like landscapes or like, docks on a beach, just like really boring neutral stuff. And you say, hey, do you want to see stuff that might upset you that's negative? And people say yes.
Yeah, and these are really boring pictures. So they're kind of things like a park bench just sitting by itself, or like a light socket or a lamp, and they watch these until they are intensely bored, and then they're given a choice. And people who the more boredom they report, the more likely they are to choose the negative image set.
Let's talk about what boredom might signal in our life, like this idea that it's lost meaning. Is that a healthy kind of way of thinking? Like if I lay in bed and think, God, my life is so boring, can there be a healthy outcome to that?
Oh, that's a great question. It could have a healthy outcome, right? Our idea is that boredom, much like other emotions, can be good in the right circumstance, but many times, particularly in today's society, it can lead to negative things. So if I'm bored in class, for instance, and I'm not paying attention, that's going to result in harms, both short term and long term. But if I'm bored with something at home where I'm not doing anything fun or engaging, and it encourages me to try something else, then it could be positive.
But what I'm hearing here is change is the main thing. For example, if I'm bored in class, deeply bored in class, and I disengage, I could flunk out of school. That is a major life change, whether I wanted it or not. Or these positive changes we make in our life is change and a desire for change, what the real deep thing that's going on here when we're bored.
Yeah, so that's what we think is happening. Is boredom is signaling us to disengage from a current state. So functional emotions work by helping us solve a current problem. But the issue with models that have considered this is there's never been a way for us to disengage from something once we've accomplished that goal. So for instance, if I really want to attain something and then I do, I would be happy. But how long should that happiness persist? And at what point would staying fixated on that goal that I've already achieved become harmful as opposed to beneficial? So we argue that boredom then results when we start to need to disengage and find something new. So it motivates us to try something else.
Motivates us to change. Well, it sounds like we can harness it for good, like positive, exciting change. We can harness it for bad, negative, exciting change. How can I control my boredom and use it as a superpower to try to get me to get to the next level of productivity or try some interesting life experiences that could benefit me?
Yeah, so it's all about situation selection, right? So in the right circumstance, boredom could help us disengage from something that's no longer beneficial. But it's variable when that can occur. A great example I like to think of is the endless scroll of social media, where that's literally designed to stop you from feeling boredom and disengaging and trying something else. So boredom could really help there, as long as it can beat the tech.
Interesting. So maybe get off the phones and experience our boredom, but try to do it in a way where there's a positive change outcome.
Yeah, and that's the challenging part. Is boredom isn't going to encourage us necessarily to do something rewarding or even beneficial for us. It's just going to encourage us to do something that's different from what we're currently experiencing. And so then it's kind of up to what we're around and what's available to us.
What are there any long-term consequences to being bored all the time or making choices that will make us bored?
Oh, that's a great question. That ties closer to what's called trait boredom, or the propensity to become bored over time. People who are more likely to experience boredom over time have a host of negative outcomes correlated with that, right? So they experience lower meaning in life. They're more likely to take risks, and even some correlates to substance use and those kinds of things.
It's just so interesting to me that you're kind of categorizing it as neither good nor bad. It can be both. Is this kind of a new way to frame boredom? Because I think for a long time, people have just either written it off, like you said at the beginning of the interview, psychologists didn't care about it, or they treated it as mostly negative.
Yeah, and it's kind of a new perspective with emotions in general. So really in the last several, well, maybe 15 years, functional perspectives have gained popularity with even emotions like happiness, where it was once thought that, always being happy was better, but there are times when we should be happy and times when we shouldn't. And so it's good to have that variability and recognize that when it's rewarding, it's good, and we should also experience other things.
Recapping here, knowing what you know, studying what you've studied about boredom and doing this research, any piece of advice for the average person to harness boredom for good?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would try to find opportunities to experience different things. So it doesn't have to be doing things. It can be thinking about things and engaging in conversation and considering new material and new ideas. Anything that's giving us an opportunity to change what we're currently experiencing.
Well, I hope this show wasn't boring for you. I know at the commercial break, Shane, you were like, I haven't done many interviews like this. Was this a non-boring thing for you?
Oh, this was great. I had a wonderful time. Thank you, David.
Well, Shane Bench is a psychology professor at Utah State University. Shane, thank you again. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.